Hey everybody. Hey now. Welcome to Root Beer Reviews, the part where OmniDog gets his root beer float and reviews some books. And this is OmniDog, also known as Jester, Just Brag, Silver Fox, number of names, some which can't be repeated here, that my wife calls me, not in a good way. Here to review books under the radar and on the radar. So which was an idea from Brendan Donnelly, a good guy that is a friend of mine, primarily known for marrying Emily Donnelly, one of the most beautiful women in the world. Don't know how Brendan ended up with her. They met at a pizza place, and the rest is history. Let's just say Brendan got the better end of that deal. But the first one we're going to review is Scarlet Witch from Marvel. These are 3 trade paperbacks, and do yourself a favor. I'm going to get to the spoilers right now. This book is great. I really enjoyed this book. The central conceit of this book is that witchcraft is broken, and that Wanda Maximoff is the one that has to fix it. One thing that I will show you that really strikes me in this book, we'll get to the writing in a second, but the colors and the paneling in this book are incredible. The artwork is just amazing. We can start out right here. Show you some of the colors here. And then we've got some more very interesting stuff going on. This is book 3. And of course, I meant to start out with book 1, which will make a heck of a lot more sense because this is where we're going to talk about the paneling. So boo on me for not picking up the right book. But here we go. Talking about the paneling. Here you can see how really cool it is. Vibrant colors, very well drawn, intricate paneling work. I really dug it. Does not have the same artist all the way through it, but what artists ever come in are very good at what they do. And here she is battling a minotaur over in Greece. Here's some of that really interesting paneling work I'm talking about. And it is just very well done. Very, as you can see, the color palette's very vibrant here. And here we have the smoking remains of a character where I'm not going to tell you who this is, but he ends up being the main antagonist. One benefit of this book, one great thing in this book, is you get some of the late great Steve Dillon's work in it. Here he is right here. He does a story arc in it. And let me show you a couple panels from it because we can all remember what a great artist he really was. And witchcraft is broken. Wanda Maximoff has to try and figure out what's going on and what's happened and why it's broken. Now she's dealing with issues of her own. She's got great guilt. If you know anything about her and House of M, you know that she carries a burden with her about some of her past actions, and she's trying to atone for these actions. Now the one problem she has is that every time she uses her powers, she ages a little. So these powers come with a cost. It visibly ages her. Now she is assisted by Agatha Harkness, the ghost of her, throughout the book, which is a fun little touch. Here's some more. Here's Agatha as drawn by Steve Dillon, and it's fun to have Agatha along for the ride. But one of the most interesting things that happens in the first, there's three trade paperbacks. One of the most interesting things that happens in the first trade paperback, she does use her powers, magical powers, to defeat a number of enemies in a number of interesting locales throughout the book. And this one takes place, I believe, in Spain, where she has to go help exorcise the spirits. It's a haunted vineyard, sort of, and she has to go which houses nuns now. She has to go try and exorcise the spirits there, and she does so very effectively. The author is the great James Robinson. Now, this story is the story Scarlet Witch's A Whisper, a comics codex by Javier Pulido from a script by James Robinson. So the most effective passage in here is with no words, where the Scarlet Witch takes on these various demons, ghosts. It tells the story very well with no words whatsoever going on in it. Let's see if I can get it without the reflection. I don't want to give too much away, but as you can see, there's no words here, but reading the book, you definitely get a sense of what is going on in it and how she's able to achieve remarkable results. She's a very strong female protagonist, which, as you may know if you've seen any of my other videos, that's what I really care about. I love a strong female protagonist. And she has a very strong sense of a woman with a purpose. She's very purposeful, and so that's what is a very positive part of Scarlet Witch. In book 2, there's that book 3 again. I don't want to get to it yet. Book 2, she starts to travel. She travels a lot. In this particular issue, she goes to Paris to help the city of Paris's protector, a superhero type of guy who is suffering from a great loss, has lost confidence in himself, and is contemplating suicide. And it's her job that she takes upon herself to give him back his reason to live. He suffered a great loss, and she wants to give him back a reason to live, to really become the person he once was, and be Paris's great protector again. And it's done very effectively. The portrayal of grief and loss are done very effectively. Then there's a very cool trip. See, the art changes in this book constantly, but it's never anything less than stellar. The artwork is stellar. In it, she goes to Hong Kong. Scarlet Witch goes to Hong Kong to help the protector of that city, who's called, I believe, the Wu. The Woo-hoo? The Wu. But she helps the protector believe in herself and overcome the crimes that are being committed. She helps them solve. A lot of times, Wanda's helping solve the crimes that are going on in this book too. But all along, she's trying to figure out and put back together the pieces of witchcraft which have been broken. Sort of the sense that magic and witchcraft are broken about the world. She discovers and battles her protagonist. I won't say too much so as not to spoil it, but she does discover and battle her protagonist a couple times, and it becomes clear who the protagonist is. It's kind of an old school type of guy that is done very well here. He's quite hateful. There's a Civil War II tie-in here that I don't know anything about. I read it and I said, because I don't know anything about Civil War II, the Marvel event. But she also has a very interesting trip set in Japan where she goes. And throughout the book, she's trying to find more about her own heritage and her own identity. And she's going to all these places not only to help solve the mystery of witchcraft, but to try and get a sense of who she is, her parents, her grandparents, things like that, trying to find out exactly who she is and what her past can mean to her. So she solves the mystery in Japan. The mystery involves an exorcism, and it involves her finding out more of her own heritage. This book is extremely well written and very interestingly drawn with great art. Great writing. These are just 3 little old trade paperbacks. I bet it's book 3 that's bugging me now. Where are you, book 3? No, it's book 1 that was missing. So you cannot go wrong. This is one of the better books that I've read recently. So check out Scarlet Witch. It is really great. And it's time for a root beer break. That's right. I'm drinking through my straw. It's a spraw or a stoon or something. The straw is built into the spoon, which of course my wife thought was a great gift for me, and so I got it. So, enough with the root beer floats. The root beer this week, my favorite, Dominion root beer, locally brewed here in the state of Virginia. The next book we have is a much deeper, layered, complex kind of story than what some of us are used to. It's very European because it was written in Europe. It's France, as a matter of fact, and this is The Book of Chaos from Humanoids. And I make a big deal out of it being a European book because European books, Humanoids books, have a different kind of sensibility than American comics. So you do have to adjust a little bit to figure out what's going on. But it's not a detriment. But let me read you the description on the back before I get into the review so you can get an idea of what the Book of Chaos is about. It's a very big book, beautiful art, beautiful art. Brash archaeologist Jack Stanton is the sole survivor of a Himalayan expedition that went horribly wrong. Against all odds, he returns with proof of an ancient civilization that walked the earth before mankind. A civilization of immense power and incredible evil, period. Didn't read it that well. While preparing for a book tour, Jack is haunted by strange visions and then attacked by a religious zealot, warning of the apocalyptic apocalyptic dangers of his discovery. I better have another hit of root beer after that. I can't even blurt out my own words. This is a French series that has achieved its first full English translation since it was put out in 2014. It is written, drawn, and colored. That really pisses me off when it's all the same guy. By Matthew Lafray, from a story by Xavier Dorison and Matthew Lafray. And here's the opening thing that you see, and you get a sense of what kind of artwork we're dealing with here. Just big, huge, gorgeous artwork right there. It's got a kind of it's a pulpy adventure story, sort of like the pulp books back in America in the 1930s and 40s. It's very much of an adventure, and the opening page is stunning. It's where they discover the brash archaeologist Jack Stanton and the professor are in the Himalayas, and they discover in the Himalayas, in the thousands of feet above sea level, they discover this giant structure. And what happens from there, of course, is what is Jack's undoing and the world's undoing, just about. I'm not going to give too much away, but Jack Stanton is probably the not least popular, but he's least likable protagonist that I've ever met. He's an archaeologist and scientist that is in it for the fame and glory, women, wine, power. He wants the discovery for all the wrong reasons, not for scientific reasons, but because it's going to give him power, fame, and glory. So he's not very likable in the beginning of this book. What happens in this book is very trippy. He comes back from that alone. The professor and all the other Sherpas and everybody are dead or gone missing, but the professor he's with has a heart attack right before the discovery and before Jack goes in there. And when he comes back to New York City, things start to go, because he does something in the structure that set in motion a chain of events. And one of the first things that happens in this book, if you can make it out, is a giant tanker ship runs aground into the heart of New York City, which sets off a chain of events that is mind-blowing. It literally propels Jack into, we don't know, is it a different world, a different planet, a dystopian future? What has he been propelled into? But that's the key event where all of a sudden he gets out of his car and he is trapped in a completely different world. And the artwork is absolutely stunning because there are giant demons, statues of giant demons, and demons themselves that populate this world that he's stuck in. He has to go through a desert. He has to paddle across a sea. He ends up running across this race of people. They're very unusual looking. They don't look human at all. They're very unusual. And they see him as their prophet, that he will lead them out of this whacked out, destroyed place. Here you can see, and you get a little hint of where he is. If you can see this building right here, this Jack comes upon this, and these people are looking to him to lead them to the promised land. Now, mind you, he's spending most of his time trying to figure out how the heck he got there, where is he, how does he get back to the New York City he knows. He's going through some personal things of his own, and here is what's tracking him the whole time. You can see this dude. This is what's tracking him. They have to deal with a lot of occult type of science fiction characters in this book, and the sense of fear is palpable. They do a good job of getting through to the reader a sense of occult type of mystic fear by showing a lot of these demons and showing this race of people. Here he is thinking he has a moment's peace, and he's facing down this demon again who's about 40 times his size. So there's kind of an unknown ancient evil that's permeating this place, and it seems like it's destroyed the world as we know it. Here's another great shot of the artwork that shows him with statues of demons in this destroyed world where he finds himself. And I'll get this straight eventually. There we go. And you get a sense of the majesty of this artwork, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's an interesting tale of redemption because Jack eventually develops a relationship with these people. He becomes very close to a couple of them. And when I say people, they're almost people creatures. But he eventually sees the errors of his ways. I'm not going to spoil the end of the book for you, but I encourage you, if you get this book, and it's a really good book, I really enjoyed it, read it all the way through. I sort of in the middle of it sort of felt like, what is going on here? I just don't get it. Read it to the end and then read it again. You will be a better person for it. It will make a serious impact on you because you definitely have to read it to the end for it all to make sense. Here's another shot of the artwork, which is absolutely gorgeous. And there's a picture of a woman that he becomes close to right there. You can see some of her features right there. But this book is a really well done, large-scale Humanoids book. Humanoids has a reputation, well-deserved, for putting out really great books, and this is one of them. This is a book that you will enjoy. It's not expensive. Let's see, it's $40, but if you go to In-Stock Trades, you can get it for probably 30% off since it's a Humanoids book. And here's the last shot of some of the artwork. If you can make it, you have a sense of trying to figure out what's real and what's not real, and you have to make it through to the end of the book. When all becomes revealed, it all makes sense, and you're left sitting there, wow, this was some kind of work of art, because it really is. Pardon me while I take some of my root beer. So, those are the root beer reviews for today. We did Scarlet Witch and Book of Chaos. I liked both of them a lot. I urge you to pick up copies of them. They're both great examples of what the medium can do. Scarlet Witch, a little bit lighter, very interesting, well done by Marvel and James Robinson. And then you've got Book of Chaos, a lot of layers, very deep, super well built book. Very nice, substantial book. I think that you will enjoy both of them very much. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me give you a last swig of root beer. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll tell you what, you need to also tune in to a few of my friends that are on the YouTube thing there. You got Giovanni Menendez on A Week in Geekdom, where he geeks out over everything. You've got Gabe Bustamantez on... Okay, you've got... I'll come back. Wait, no, it's... Gabe Infinity Watch. Sorry, Gabe. I got it out, though. Gabe Infinity Watch. Then you've got Luis, who does hardcover reviews. And then you've got the master of them all, Riley Moore, who does the Omnibus Collector. They all do videos on YouTube, and they're all very much worth watching. They all put out great amount of stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Tell me what you'd like me to review next, and I'll give it a try. I'll try and review anything anybody tells me to, as long as I can. So thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. Silver Fox, out.